Hey, Peter.
Hey.
Could you...
Wait. I've only got 60 seconds.
Oh, we should hurry it up then.
Yeah, hurry it up.
Let's speed it along.
Let's go.
What do we got?
Let's go.
Okay. I'm Adam Ennis.
And I'm Peter Martin.
You'll hear podcast. I'm trying to speed it along.
Yeah, no, I got it.
Sorry.
Music advice coming at you.
Did you have to look at your notes for that?
I did. Well, I like to confirm. It's called confirmation bias.
This is an open studio podcast, of course. So, Peter, what are we talking about today?
We are talking about, can you learn to play jazz piano, or can you learn to do anything?
Yeah.
Can we broaden this a little bit?
Sure.
No, but specifically, can you learn jazz piano in 60 seconds?
No. I can tell
I
you
knew you were
straight
gonna-
up, no.
You'll hear it. Or I guess we should probably be more aptly named, what can you learn in 60 seconds?
What can you learn? in
And
60
why are we talking, is this arbitrary, the 60-second
No.
demarcation on the clock that we've placed?
No, you know what's amazing in our modern world?
Yeah.
An app like TikTok,
Yeah.
right? A seemingly benign, some would say
Is it seemingly benign?
seemingly, some would say incredibly moronic app of people dancing. That's how it started. Just people doing dances.
The TikTok dance.
The TikTok
I love
changed.
dancing. Nothing wrong with dancing.
Nothing wrong with dancing. Hey, I love a good dance. Nothing wrong. But it has changed the way people are teaching not just music, but
Yeah.
a lot of different things, because you have to be able to do it in a very short amount of time.
Yep.
And it has changed even the way here at Open Studio we've approached some of our sort of front-facing educational videos.
Yeah.
And so, so TikTok's influence is now ubiquitous amongst most social media posters, especially if you're trying to teach anything.
Yeah.
You have to have your shorts game together, right? Your 60-second or less education game together. And it begs the question, is that valuable? I think actually it is. We've been working on it now for several weeks. And
Well, don't give away the answer to this episode already.
I
Now
mean-
people like, you said it is. Wait, first you said you couldn't. Now
Right.
you say you can.
Well, yeah. I mean, you can't learn how to play jazz piano in 60 seconds, obviously.
But can you learn something about?
Yeah, I
jazz?
actually think, in my experience with this, actually, and the fact that it forces the content maker to distill something down into a very
Content
bite-sized
maker, candlestick shaker.
the fact that it forces us to boil it down. I
If
think
only
is
we could do
actually
that
good.
on this podcast.
Oh my God. We can't.
20
we can't get
minutes. Do
under
we
it.
have a minute of good information on here? Probably.
Yeah, but
per
it's
20?
just baked into a 35-minute episode.
Right.
Yeah.
Well, we were a little bit ahead of the game, but a little bit off mark, as well, I should say myself.
You were very much ahead of the game.
Because 10, 11 years ago, I was doing 2-minute jazz.
That's right.
Which felt short at the time. Turns out it was twice too long.
Too long.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Although TikToks can be that long.
Can they?
Yeah, yeah. It's the YouTube, and so can Instagram.
Right.
We've been doing, and as much as you've mentioned TikTok, we're actually going to be looking at some YouTube Shorts today.
Okay.
But the idea is like all these, it's a short format that everyone's
right.
talking about.
That's right.
Right? Vertical format. So to be consumed ideally on your mobile device, on
That's
your
right.
phone. So it's actually, and that's more important than you're going to realize. I think a lot of people are going to realize the aspect ratio, and with our first example, we'll see why. But how you create content as a filmmaker. We're filmmakers. You're a filmmaker. Did you know that?
Sure.
That put a smile on his face.
Let's say that's true.
But, if you're doing it in the landscape mode, which was henceforth
Is that what Spielberg
preferable.
calls it?
Yeah, cinematic mode. But now when you go to portrait or vertical mode, it really brings up some interesting issues if you play piano in terms of like what can be fitted, how you're going to present the material. And you've only got a minute, so you got to present it in a way that's like
I think
instructive.
Weirdly, piano works in the vertical mode because of the vertical. Like
Especially
if you're
if you
looking
turn
at
your head like this.
if you're looking at the keys sideways, it actually looks better because the keys are so long sideways. Like, as for instance, our keyboards here. If you look at if you go back to the main shot, Caleb, like you could see all of the keys here.
Well, that would be a good. Yeah, that's kind of what we do.
No,
like
this would be a great
so
vertical if you just wanted to get the table.
Right.
Yeah, which is probably preferable.
Yeah, this is gripping content for the audio podcast.
No,
Thank
but
you
this
guys
is
for
part of
being
it though. Like,
Yep.
you have to think about how it's presented and what the frame looks like. And
Yeah.
I think the vertical video is not bad for the piano, actually.
Yeah. Well, let's jump into some examples and we can talk as we go. First up, we have our friend of the pod. He forgot about the pod, but he's back on
That
board
was
with
so
the pod.
hilarious, man.
Rick Beato, who of course we talked about last week with his really important interview with Keith Jarrett. But Rick has done for quite some time. He was kind of a pioneer, at least in terms of what I saw, with really quality. Of course, this is guitar, mostly guitar 1 minute quick lessons, he calls them. He put them all together as a course, in fact.
Yeah.
But really getting some interesting information. And when we talk about the aspect ratio, you see here how he's already having to get the guitar, because some guitarists are like showing you cool stuff.
Yeah.
But they're holding it more comfortably for them.
Yeah. I think this is harder on guitar than it is piano, ironically.
Right. And he actually talked with him about this. He went to great lengths to get it so that you could see the hands and that you could present things in a way.
Thing to practice when you're warming up is taking a 1 to 5 to 1 to 5 progression and practice improvising over it so that the listener can hear where the chords change. I'm going to start on A minor and go to E7, go to A minor, go to E7.
So I mean,
lesson.
This is probably a great, this is one of the great examples of like, just do one thing. You could learn that. I mean, a guitar player, especially, this is not necessarily a beginner, but it's a little bit more beginner-esque, right? Because you're reading off the tab.
I would say it's like an intermediate lesson. Yeah, beginners couldn't do this, but if you can kind of play, this would help to unlock some sort of theoretical things as well as some practical, I can play this kind of thing.
And some good stuff to practice. And then because it's guitar, you can go into other keys too then, right? Just by shifting
so
up and
easy.
down.
Yeah.
So, but that's good. And it's presented well. You could see the tab. You could see his hands really well.
Also, it's a good exercise to be able to outline chords clearly. I remember when I was a student, I took a couple of lessons with Aaron Goldberg, who's actually not that much older than me. But Aaron's great. You know Aaron, right? He's a great pianist. And he had me doing this on rhythm changes very deliberately. Like, can you outline these changes very clearly?
Right.
In a similar way.
And then I guess the question becomes like, in seeing a video, if you don't have access to Aaron Goldberg sitting right there with them live, or Rick Beato, like watch in 1 minute something that you might be able to practice if you're at this right level for this for like an hour.
Yeah, if you
really pay attention, this puts more on the student.
That's right.
Right, to really watch, because he can't explain, everything about put your hands. He's explaining one thing, and there's a lot of assumptions in terms of correct technique, but he is showing that. So it's not like you're just reading written instructions for it.
And what I like about this format, actually, and we can get into it. I know we have one of mine queued up somewhere around here, but yeah, this one. So I've gotten some, not a lot, but a couple people who are like, hey, can you either give the sheet music of this, or can you slow this down? But I won't, because what's so great about this is, they just loop over. They're short and they just loop over and over again. So if you're really hungry for this information, you can just keep watching again and again and try to get it. And that's actually more valuable than, a piece of sheet music or something of it, and I like,
and that's
this
part
format.
Part of the learning process.
Right, it's part of the learning
process.
process.
That's the ear training.
I think it's easier to communicate that to students in this format than it is in a 20-minute lesson, where it's like, just listen to it again and again. Well, who's got time to listen to a 20-minute lesson 10 times?
Yeah,
but
it's like,
you do have time to do this 10 times.
Right. What's the proportion of teaching and viewing, which could be watch it as many times as you need to, go back or whatever. And I should say, we're not going to get into it here, but there are ways, just so you know, they're very easy to search and find out, to slow these down. A lot of people are like, can't you slow it down? How do you slow down these videos? Google it.
Well, no, you can also,
I can't remember, actually.
If you're on your phone here, you can simply, and if you don't know this, like on Instagram, and I think on TikTok and YouTube Shorts, you can simply hold your finger on the screen and it'll pause.
Right.
Yeah.
But I'm saying you can actually slow these down without changing the pitch.
Really?
Yeah.
Oh, on SoundSlice.
On Chrome.
On Chrome.
Yeah.
Oh, snap.
Key of F, diatonic seventh chords.
Have you seen that guy?
Up the scale.
This is great.
Drop 2. Now we have the secondary dominant for each one. Except the seventh. The seventh kind of sucks. Now we put that secondary
Why you thumbs down it, bro?
third in the bass. More of a modern sound, we do the mu chord.
So one danger, I love this. It's such a good thing. One danger for students for all these kinds of videos, not just Adam's here, but like if you find something that you like, and this is a great one, you can learn so much from it. Go through it the way that the creator presented. If you trust enough to practice this, like sometimes people watch stuff, oh, that's cool, I'm going to move on, or wait, I want to learn how to do that. If this resonates and you trust Adam, which you should, then go through how he does it. I fear some people will try to be like, oh, I love that move, I've never known how to do that, and jump right to this, and then they're missing a lot of what you're giving. You're moving through it relatively quickly, but it's very clear. So people, you have, in order to get the most out of these, you have to have the discipline, I think, of to work through it. It's kind of like when you go through the textbook and then you see a picture on the 5th page, but you haven't really read and you want to jump to there. Yeah. You're not going to get as much out of it, I think.
Yeah, take your time.
Yeah.
Well, what I love about this is kind of backing up what I said at the beginning about, I think the value of these shorts is that the creator does have to break it down, because this is from a 45-minute session on Open Studio Pro that we've been doing. Whenever we do a new song on the Repertoire Club at Open Studio Pro, like if we were to do, when we did Out of Nowhere, I did this exercise, I think the 2nd or 3rd session for Out of Nowhere in the key of G, because I find that for a lot of people, it's helpful to, especially if you're a beginner, to be like, okay, we're in the key of G. What are the diatonic 7th chords? So that's that first part of that, right?
Yeah.
What are the diatonic 7th chords in the key of G? And then what are their secondary dominants? Because like 90% of standards are diatonic 2nd chords and secondary dominants in some way. And then you can work on the various voicing structures in there as well. So having to put a 45-minute session into a 60-second block I came up with this really nice exercise with it. Because it forces you to be like, okay, what's important about this? So it's important that you understand this is all based off of just diatonic 7th chords and secondary dominant chords, and then the different voicing structures of the secondary dominant chords. And that's music, baby. Yeah. That's all it is.
Well, and I think these are the kind of exercises and, presentations that really, I would encourage folks to look out for, because you can get so much from them. It's like content. We used to look at these in different technical exercises or etudes, or could be a lot of different things, but things that you practice that teach you concepts without you even realizing. You understand the concept from the material. You might not understand all the words or all the stuff that's actually not that important, but it instills in you these very well, they're not necessarily basic principles. They're, because like this is a fairly advanced kind of a thing, but they're very fundamental,
things,
right?
Fundamental things to be on the lookout for as you're
right, and for your ear to understand it, for your hands to make connections. So, and it kind of forces you to fill in on some of the blanks. Although you're showing everything to play there, but because you're not going through it in 45 minutes, it forces the student to be an active student, an active listener, an active participant, to be curious. And that's what I love about the short format, because when we have unlimited time, like this podcast, we kind of oversplain sometimes. You've heard of mansplaining?
We've done this on the podcast, and I mansplained my way through it on that.
You oversplained it.
Yeah.
All right, let's go to another one here. Let's go to Aimee Nolte, friend of the pod, friend of Open Studio. She's done some master classes for us.
She's done some master classes, and she's really crushing this short game. She's got this format here where she's obviously holding her camera in front of her, hands at the piano.
I've done that look before, but my chubby little paws don't look as elegant as her finely tuned piano technique does. And that's the kind of blingy ring she's got on too.
She's always got really good concepts as well, with these things, with the one-handed thing, which is hard to do, by the way.
Come from diminished
shout out to Aimee for
scales. You build them by stacking minor thirds on top of each other.
Just clear, clean.
All 4 notes can be found in that scale.
I wish somebody explained this to me when I was trying to find that out.
That another diminished chord can be built from the same scale. Diminished chord.
So awesome. Yeah, and look, this is another kind of way that these shorts can excel. Just explain one concept in really a different way, because no one ever explained it to me like that with the other. I kind of figured that out, and some people might say, well, isn't that better if you figured it out? Maybe, maybe not. There's still a lot that this will unlock, more things for you to figure out by that limitation of the minute.
Yeah, most people are not going to come away from this 60-second video and be like, oh, I finally get diminished scale harmony from that 60-second. But it's like the repetitiveness of it, keep coming back to it. Someone from this short, after probably hearing this sound or knowing about this maybe, someone from the short had a big light bulb moment, and then it like locked in. So
Exactly.
Can you learn this in 60 seconds? No, but can this be unlocked for you in 60 seconds?
Right.
Yeah.
And can it give you 60 minutes or even 6 days of practice? I mean, you take this through all the keys, although diminished, that's another thing. There's only 3. But I mean, it's kind of the difference between, I would almost say, I don't want to speak out of turn and create new terminology that we didn't approve before the podcast, but it's like jazz piano porn versus jazz piano instruction. Or just music instruct. It's like, so jazz piano porn is like if you go through and you see Herbie playing for a minute, like ripping through, or Bill Evans or Oscar Peters.
Okay, so this
it's
is like,
great. It's like food porn.
Food porn. Got it.
But then the actual
Why does it sound dirtier when you say jazz piano?
Jazz piano porn. But people say food porn all the time.
They do, and it's like totally not a non-issue. But for some reason, it sounds sketchy when you say jazz piano porn.
Jazz piano porn. But the idea of like, it's great, it's fun to look at, but you're not getting any. Well, yeah, of course you're getting something out of it. Seeing Herbie Hancock rip for a minute.
Of course,
yeah. But like, this is sort of like with food porn versus these TikToks and shorts that actually teach you how to do something.
Right.
You know, I've learned stuff from those.
It's like watching
those food instructional things.
It's like the difference between watching Anthony Bourdain eat a delicious meal in like
where it's
Thailand,
so beautifully filmed,
and he's like, oh, and then watching like Jacques Pepin quarter a chicken, which is not as like as maybe as like unbelievable.
But you could learn how to make your dish better so that when you present your food porn, it works. And I mean, that's the thing I think that Aimee has hit here is like visually, this is all about learning. It's not about like, you know, she's such a great player and singer and stuff. She could like just sort of play and sing and it's going to look great and sound great. But this is really about showing, like, she's really nailed exactly what you need to see. She's got the text up there, nothing fancy, but the instruction is very fancy and very beneficial, I think. Nari Soul. Okay, so this, I really love. Nari Soul is a fantastic pianist. Encourage you to check her channel out. She's got really good long form videos, but I think she does cool stuff with the no talking style, of which we've tried to steal.
She's brilliant at this, yeah. Her graphics are so good too.
Yeah.
Very clear. Enjoyable. Also, this is a great lesson.
A great lesson. Throw a little cabin in the mountain at the end instead of the beginning, but I like that idea.
Yeah.
But so, yeah, so this is, I think, is an example of the type, and we've done some of these where it's like one concept that you can apply to many, that can, like to your point about unlocking something, but unlock to potentially many different ways to practice.
And this is, and such a great concept too. This has been a game changer for me over the years of having to remind myself that, like, you don't want to play loudly. You want to play strong, or you want a brave and bold sound, not loud, right? Or instead of soft, think gentle,
right?
Like it can be it's a subtle shift,
right?
But it changes how your hand moves on this thing. So this is brilliant the way she just and look at the elements of this, right? She's demonstrating. Right. She's showing you how you can hear the differences.
She's showing, not telling. I mean, she's telling a little bit with the text, but basically she's showing.
She's showing, but she's also showing you the difference, how it goes, and like giving you a structure of how you can do it. It's really, really smart and well done.
Yeah, because she's repeating the same thing, but showing you different ways. And I mean, her technique's so good. And I think anytime you look, it's kind of like what you were talking about with the food, with the chefs or whatever. When you're watching somebody with really good technique, just by observing that, you're going to learn a lot because you start to see what the possibilities are. The possibilities of playing the piano or the trumpet or the saxophone or the souffle machine is not...
Souffle machine?
That's not a thing?
What's a souffle machine,
Peter?
What's
the equivalent of a...
No.
Make a souffle?
No. What's a
you
souffle
put it in a
machine?
Souffle machine.
You talking about an oven?
Put it in the pan, mother. Like our friend the cheetah says. No, an oven. Right, exactly. An oven. It's just... It's just a
also
tool.
known as a souffle machine.
Hashtag souffle machine. What is the equivalent in cooking to an instrument?
Like an oven or a range.
Sue me. I like to make
grill.
I like to make it sound fancier than your than your basic terms. Okay, souffle machine. Anyway, so we look at look at all these possibilities of this. No, this is just a bunch of buttons, right?
Yeah.
And the oven is just, when you put the oven in my hands, it is not a souffle machine. It's a burning apparatus.
It is a house. It is a house destroyer.
Exactly. It's a dangerous thing. But, when you have great YouTubers, not YouTubers, just great pianists, that
also great YouTuber though.
that are also great YouTubers. Yeah, but demonstrating stuff. That's about showing you what the possibilities. So then you can take that to your practice no matter what level you're at. I mean, I got a lot out of seeing this. I was like, yeah, I mean, because I love these foundational ways of just like practicing something that's very basic, but taking it over like super, could be very advanced stuff, whatever it is that you can do. So
Totally.
She nailed it on here.
She did.
Let's see. Okay, so this is another one that I liked. I actually know Jeremy. This is We Art Play. He has a really good Instagram thing. But this is, check this out.
I love this tune.
We're going to get copyright ding. We got to talk over this so we don't get copyright ding.
That's right.
I love me some Silk Sonic and Bruno Mars. And the guy with the funny hat on drums.
All right, stop.
Okay.
Stop.
Stop singing or stop the video. Oh man, the autoplay is on, going crazy. Okay,
There you go.
so this type of video I think is really good because it shows you one like basic thing. It's almost like a little bit of a cheat code, right?
Yeah.
A little bit of a cheat sheet to like, oh, I love the way that sound is. So this, I mean, I don't want to say this is for the more of the lazy player, but it is a little bit. And this is a little bit of a danger area, I would say, because ideally you're listening to this and going over and figuring this stuff out and developing your ears as you go, right?
Yeah.
So maybe this isn't a great one.
No, this is good. Like people, you got to meet people at all levels, and even if they get interested, you know, I'm shocked at the amount of people that don't know that they can do this themselves, right? And so sometimes you have to see somebody doing this to realize, like, oh, this is something that people do. They go to records, they get it, they figure it out.
Right.
I can do that, you know.
Right,
and so the more that you and people like you and I preach, like, yeah, that's the way that you actually learn how to do it correctly, or the way that
that's
you
good.
learn.
So this could inspire people to be like, oh, I can figure that out.
I think
It's
so.
not, and it demystifies it, as to your point, meeting people where they are. You got the Doppio keyboard so you can see what's happening. So those on the pod here, basically, it's just, there's no video, or I mean, there's video. It's just playing on the keys, showing the exact basic voicings with this, you know, massive hit by Silk Sonic, Bruno Mars, whatever, but it's showing the chord change. It's like a very simple lead sheet.
That's right. Yeah, and you know what's cool about this one too is like it could also, I think, first of all, it's good to like give Silk Sonic and modern music this kind of treatment because there's so many people who are like, nothing good has ever made anymore or whatever.
Right.
This is like a huge hit.
The Jazz
It's
Police
a
come after
massive
this.
pop hit. And this is like really interesting chord progression, really interesting chords, great production, like really good stuff.
And I would challenge some of the Jazz Police that come after this stuff. Like, can you sit down and hear this by ear? You know what I mean? In all keys, you know, in all microtones. You know,
Challenge
depends on how
accepted.
challenge accepted. Exactly. But I mean, this is, I probably learned more to develop my ears because I was doing it earlier, like from Michael Jackson, Thriller. Like that record came out when I was 12 years old, 12, 13 years old, right? Ever heard of it? Thriller. Sold a lot of copies.
I've heard of it, yeah.
But like learning those tunes or trying to off the radio. And then I had the cassette recorder, but I remember my parents got mad, like, you can't record that, that's piracy. But I was recording because I was trying to go back on the cassette so I could hear it. Because otherwise, before that, I was literally like, you'd wait till the song was going to come on.
Yeah.
And like beat it was, I mean, it would come on every hour. And then I'd go over to the piano and try to catch the chords. So, I mean, I really learned a lot. I couldn't play a lot of it, but that's the kind of beginnings to
Those are
to
good
that
chords
kind of
too.
things. They are good chords.
Yeah.
Okay, we're going to try something a little bit fun here. Let me see if I can do this.
Oh, instead of drudgery that we usually.
Did we hit everything we wanted to? I mean, there's so many different other ones, you know.
No, I think we got it.
Okay.
We got it.
So we're going to come here. Let's just go to, let's get that back up. We're going to go to YouTube here, and we're going to search jazz piano chords, and we're just going to see what comes up and look for one more. Because some people discover these. You know, we're going to some of our favorites, but there's a lot of people just sort of slopping around the internet, if you will. And because,
well,
that's
look
one
at
of
that. Oh,
ours.
wow.
Well, how did that happen? But we're going to come down here to shorts, and we're going to go to, which one do we want to check out? This one has 634,000 views. That's a lot. So we're going to hope that this is going to be brilliant. Oh, Bill Hinton. He's got good stuff.
Oh, no.
No?
Worst chord ever.
Oh, that's... Okay, so...
That's a good chord.
Okay, yeah, let's talk about why is this... This is a pet peeve of yours, isn't it? This is not a setup.
I kind of got in trouble for this one. A lot of people...
Middle C, so that's good. He's
give
giving
me
you some
clap
visuals.
back that I don't like this chord. That's terrible.
Because root position.
It's a stack of thirds.
Easy jazz piano. So why does this have so many views then? Explain that. Mansplain that for me. jazz splaining.
Listen, everybody starts somewhere for sure, and I'm not trying to belittle you if you're.
But then that's
kind
kind
of
of
go right into this rootless F7 with the 9 and the 13.
F13,
Like, why couldn't you make the C just move one note?
Right. Or even
just take a note off.
137, right?
Yeah.
Interesting.
That's
Yeah.
all you got to do.
All right, let's critique this. Keep repeating that pattern, and with your right hand, play any note between these two E's. I mean, it's not bad actually. Try 2 notes. Maybe not. This feels like it's longer than a minute. Okay.
Yeah.
Now maybe. Full tutorial on my YouTube channel. But I mean, there's some ideas. I like the.
But is this how it's done, really? Though, is this how it's done?
Of course
Is this
not.
how beginners learn about improvising?
I mean, maybe.
No. Start with a song. You should start by learning a song.
With a bass line? No.
That is more swinging and will teach you more about improvisation. I'm not being pedantic here. That will teach you more about improvisation and swing.
Yeah.
And how the world of melody and harmony works.
Even if you did 1 through 7, right?
Even if you did 1 3 7.
Yeah.
Then I think that. And I'm not trying to discourage anybody for doing what you want to do or how you want to do it. But just so you know, starting with a song will be more effective.
Yeah.
And will teach you more deeply and faster.
Yeah. I'm going to do a short with C Jam Blues.
There we go.
Big shout out to Duke
That's what I'm
Ellington.
talking about.
Well, the other thing is,
Peter Martin should do a short with C Jam Blues.
we're doing that today.
Yeah, do it.
It's coming at you soon.
Come on.
Because
You'll hear it.
I'm in Steamboat Springs, Colorado currently.
I'm in Indianapolis.
Hey, how's it going, guys?
Andrew, hi.
Because I feel inspired to play something else from your playing.
Okay, that's great.
I think using the metronome is a great tool, but it's not the only tool.
All of the answers are really in the music.
What does it mean to live in a groove, be in a groove?
Until next time, happy practice.